good with the video game. So I could see that they won't play that. Either way, our mystery sort of chooser has picked Process for the first map. This is CSG versus Nati Noot, and if you live under a rock, it's ETF2L's winter season here in spring, and it's week 5. Let's see what's happening on midday.
Yeah, we see both the soldiers go in very, very early for CSG, trying to lock players out. Now a bomb coming in from Nati, but he's just going to land on Fancy and get taken out himself. Luke and Tiger going across the left-hand side. They're getting some space here, but it's just a one soldier traded at the moment, and neither team is really committing.
Damn, it's a scary, intimidating blob over on the side of CSG. They don't want to kind of part with anybody, it seems. They have thrown in their first casualty. That is Rifle, that's going to get things moving for his squad. But the blob play has worked out for CSG so far. What was commanding presence for the rest of Faust and his boys is now an absolute pincer maneuver, because they've actually got people coming back from respawn, reconnecting for that second mid-fight.
Yeah, they did they end up getting the cap in there? But no, not quite. But either way, it looked okay for a while for Nati Noot, but then they got kind of stuck in the enemy choke, and with a couple of the picks that they did get early on in that mid-fight came in to bite them, because they came in as a spawn, and as you say, pincer movement going in, and now we're seeing the CSG side with a large advantage go to last.
Alright, they've got an Uber, not even popping it out. They will pop it out finally now. The sentry gun's been taken out really quickly. The heavy weapons guy has been switched off already. They've got a back cap going on during all this thing, so if they could just block the point here, very crucial block from Rifle at the last moments here, but Tiger will come crashing down, get a kill or two, just to kind of equalize things out on this last point. But I think it's all kind of gone against them in sort of this committal to kind of keep this last point defended at all costs. They have just managed to go back outside, cap out that second, and then re-enter the fight over on CSG.
Yeah, it didn't look super smooth. They committed a few too many people back to block the second, if anything. Didn't end up capping last or blocking second at first, but as you say, the good thing was that they were all on the same page. They were able to recommit, and spawners took an age for Nati Noot there, so CSG go a quick 1-0 up.
Alright, Tiger, with a nice fast rollout, will take the health pack away from Play Grey. Play Grey scowling at him, but it will get a crossbow, and it's like it never happened. They're going to go aggressive over on the Nati Noot squad. Already dealt with, though, are these poor little soldiers, and they are starting to play off their sort of weakened stance here. They are managing just to weasel out some heals here and there over on Nati Noot, but the tumbling domino effect does eventually follow them through, and CSG are looking convincing on these mids, Dave.
Yeah, they're just playing together, they're pushing up over their left-hand side, and you can see they keep getting players marooned in the sewer area for Nati Noot. They keep getting separated, and crucially as well, they keep getting themselves in a position where they're stuck and there's nowhere for them to escape, so Faust just has to commit forward and eventually dies.
Alright, another defense, and another Uber charge advantage for the dog, as they're just kind of ushering their way into lobby now. Maybe they can try and spam down this sentry gun, but no avail. The engineer's keeping that healthy, so they will have to use the Uber charge to take out the sentry gun. They've actually decided to flip on the other side of things. Will kind of make taking out the sentry gun kind of hairy for them, but they will take it out now, and the next step is trying to pressure off this point. They do throw a soldier in there to block it off for half a second. Not many other people blocking the point though here, Dave. And it's another round on the board for CSG.
Yeah, it's slightly strange them going in through 3. You imagine they'd heard this entry, you imagine they'd spotted it, but either way, not the greatest entry, but they did just play smart. The scouts did a good job, both playing on the beam, both baiting the cap time, and as you say, not quick enough block for Nati Noot, so a second round.
Tiger, again, turning nice and early. He wanted to meet maybe 2 soldiers or stuff. He actually counter-jumps the soldiers instead and gets a nice early kill on Nati Noot. This is a very similar trend we're seeing, and this is not what we've been seeing. They were a very, very early back out from Nati Noot, the entire team.
Yeah, the mid-fights just aren't working right now. We're seeing Tiger go in. He does trade out. They're so very aggressive here, actually, CSG. You can see how far forward Fancy is. He's going to just about sneak out of the PC area, but that was a little bit of overcommit. I think they expected Nati Noot to continue going back, but no, they stood firm.
It's rather cruel to call a team after an entire player, but okay, we'll have to just keep going as Nati Noot hit the player. Will take some initial damage. They're re-entering the fight. I like the fact they're fighting this. They have the respawns on the side, so even if things get a bit trady here on this midpoint, it should win out for the CSG squad, and they see a sign of weakness. Playgray has been caught out and will be committed on, taken down, and with a two-player advantage, Demoman being one of those deaths will be an easy second point for CSG.
Yeah, not even going to try and contest here. The Nati Noot boys, they're just going to go back to last, get some off classes up. They will just about get spawns up now, but already you can see pressure in through 5.
They're in. They've taken out the sentry. They're already pressuring at the door. The wolves are knocking, and here's a scary, scary wolf.
Oh.
They do get a casual little headshot from Hector shooting onto the dog as well. So that's an uber charge taken out, and when things go bad, they go worse as they just try to commit as many players in. Maybe they take out Fast, but Fast is in a nice, safe sort of bunker. And yeah, what a play coming out from her. Hexery.
He got it eventually. Only took about 4 attempts.
Oof! Ow, my soul.
No worries. Anyway, yeah, good defense at the end of the day, and yeah, crucial headshot coming in. They went for Faust, weren't able to get him, so now he does have 100% in hand as they move their way into mid-air, trying to negotiate all the spam that's coming in towards him. But Playgray is the one getting headshot now. Loopy, the sniper, and the Force comes in as well.
And the Force coming out on the Faust. He's trying to glance himself onto Lanza to just see if he can pick up the pieces of this Uber. Faust is in a very compromising position though. Fancy even has the number on Lanza as well. What a very nice sort of kind of kite of that Uber. And maybe even just picking off these other extra players. You could see what they wanted to do there, Dave. They wanted to greedily hold on to that Uber, and they just lost too many players before it finally came out.
Yeah, they thought they were in the clear because they just waited to spam out, but the combination of that sniper as well was a double whammy that they weren't ready for. They were trying to play it passive, they were trying to move in slowly, but that just allowed the sniper to pop up at a crucial time.
Alright, I predict a very early pop going out from Corndog. And okay, step 1, they've taken out the sentry gun. Step 2, try to keep an eyeball onto that point, as they've already cleared out some players over on Nati Noot to defend this. They've got the heavy weapons guy as well, so the slower this fight goes, it will go the way on Nati Noot. But they collapse very nicely over on CSG to take out the heavy weapons guy, but they have to commit the entire squad for that, and they have a couple of just remaining players over on Nati Noot to actually push out onto second.
Yeah, a little bit strange there from CSG. They didn't quite sync up the damage. They had Tiger in a nice position going towards the panic room. They had Fancy quite far forward locking down the right spawn, but they weren't able to get aggressive together. There wasn't any cap time, so it didn't work out.
Sniping from forward respawn. Will not manage to get a snipe alpha and will rotate back to his own spawn, back onto the scout class. So they're in over on Nati Noot. They've got this. They popped off early, it seems, over on
it was
Nati Noot.
Forced by hordes.
Well, a very nice job by him. So they will have a consolation prize. They will get this midpoint. You can maybe see if they can get Corndog here before he actually has his Uber. They're pushing in, pretending they have it when they really don't have it quite yet, and they're just kind of kiting them out, sheepdogging their way all the way out to midpoint here from the threat of the Uber charge alone, and they've only just got it.
Yeah, they do a good job taking all the space they can with, as you say, the threat of it, and now they do have it in hand. Faust is built very, very well, so they're going to try and walk in here. A lot of space made by Tiger, jumping in quite deep, just moving over to the left-hand side, now walking up towards the point. And no one really from Nati Noot committing, but they're with 90% in hand. They want to try and get this Uber, but it's looking a bit ropey.
Oh no, they wanted to use the Uber really early there over on Corndog and company. Keep going with it, go with the advantage, but they still just weren't quick enough, and I think in the haste they lost out on Tiger and Fancy as well, getting caught out. So we'll commit in seems Horn to get Faust, and actually mission success as they will take out his life. So they back out of it, give them a couple of more points, they might be able to even things out with just Corndog's Uber eventually. But no, they want to go on the aggressive. They throw Tiger in.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't understand that Tiger Bomb at all. There was no medic for him to go to. He just jumps in behind, just gets cleaned up, and they're not even really able to follow up on anything because he didn't do any damage.
Faust is back to the world of living now, so they will have some heals to potentially push out here, but I think that in all the chaos they're a bit scared of, like, oh, does Corndog have his Uber yet? Does he? Don't he? So they're going to play very, very arm-length defense here on the second point here, Dave.
Yeah, Lanza taking out Fancy before that Uber even comes up to Connor, before they can even push in. They don't have the largest advantage now as well, and having no demo man, by the time Fancy spawns and gets into action, Faust will probably have.
Usually you see somebody getting a bit brave once that kill count marker gets one step higher than your own squad, but nobody wants to take the sort of license to die here, as they're just going to keep playing off the Lanza Sniper. They've got their own Uber charge now, so they can hold this choke aggressively again over on Nati Noot, realising they've got that safety net and they're not going to get outgunned by Corndog's own Uber.
Tiger is just going to jump into Sticky's demo man committed, though. Fancy landing on Faust and not hitting a single thing.
That's a lot of risk, and for what could have been very little reward here. And he almost got the snipe onto Corndog, but actually forces out the Uber instead. They're trying to kite the Uber here against this scout play. They don't even want to drop play Grey, it seems, throughout all this, and because Am's just committed completely onto trying to take out Faust or get Faust to use his Uber, but it was to no success. Every single step that CSG have taken to risk things so far. They've actually got the drop over on Faust there, an absolute disaster piece. And I guess if you risk things enough times here, Dave, you will get the dual aces.
You know, I was just about to praise Faust for his epic milking on that second point when Ams was balls deep onto the demo man play great, but then he walks in, he gets flanked by a scout, gets shot by a demo from the front, and still doesn't pop, and that's how you drop it.
Man, the sheer goal and greed coming out from Nati Noot there. Now they have to start all from square one, it seems, as they do have an Uber charge over on Corndog, and they are holding somewhat closer than anticipated, so they could make an actual decent push out of this, I reckon, if the CSG start getting aggressive. Well, God, they just popped the blue light to go, it seemed, right on top of Playgray, so I guess that is a demo man down, and Ams is in, but it's two scouts versus one. It's one scout versus one. He will get crossbow down, but it allows the rest of his team to kind of barrel in beside him and get that kill onto Faust. They're hanging him out and knocking at the door at last, and they're trying to claim territory on top of that. Soldiers get out of spawn, not enough to block the point though. It's a clean 3-0 for CSG so far.
Yeah, just really nice chase, knowing they had the player advantage, knowing Nati Noot were just running back, tail between their legs. They all chased, they all committed. The focus fire was very nice as well. Got the important frag onto the demo man, and then after that you can clean up the medic and then the soldiers, and they just perfect targeting.
Playgray almost getting taken out there. Does get the health pack just in time, and everyone is back nice and healthy for another mid. They actually get the kill onto Loopy to start off this middle, much better than any mid that they've played so far over on Nati Noot. And CSG smell blood in the water and they back out. They're trying to get themselves dry over on second, and they keep the pressure up over on Nati Noot and company, especially Nati Noot himself. He was the first one jumping in, but Rhythorn is the real sort of head turn. Will get the kill onto Corndog, but in all of that chaos, Tiger was throwing themselves into the blob of Faust and company, and now it's just two squads versus a demo man and a scout as well. Another scout to throw to boot. They actually pop off the Uber, and can you call that a pop? Can you call that a force? They're actually making mincemeat of these remaining players of CSG, and when the dust finally settles, they've claimed more blue territory than red have lost.
Yeah, I think I would call it a force at the end of the day, because they made them pop in Suez. If they hadn't committed, I mean, they committed a lot of players for it, but at least now it is basically even Ubers, and it means there wasn't going to be an advantage for these Nati Noot boys to push last. They're just going to have to... It looks like they actually want to go in dry.
I bet you're wondering, why do we not build Sentry Gun in that spot where Loopy's building? You can see here why, because it's can't really shoot anybody. It doesn't really shoot anybody except the people on point. And, well, I'll be damned. There's actually a scout trying to weasel his way onto point during all of this. But they can just get in from right-hand side if they really want to. Go through this 4-door over on Nati Noot and take abuse this. They even just spam it out from the long sort of stretch of 2 instead. And, yeah, now it's up to the second sentry gun there. Loopy heavy weapons guy is rocking the brass beast here. So a true sentry gun cosplay, as they will take out AMs in this higher area. They will pop off the Ubers now. Condog will respond with his own Ubers during all this. I'm shocked that nobody wants to cap the point during all this. They will actually manage to lose out over on the heavy weapons guy, and the collapse comes out. Oh, nice little air shots coming out from the shoulders, but you know, there's bigger fish to fry, gentlemen, and that fish is fried onto your point.
That was some funny stuff. I have to say, CSG's defense there was god awful. The committing into lobbing when you've got a guy just sat building a sentry gun literally back in his own spawn is very, very risky. They lost 2 players for it. They almost was saved by some pretty good flashing by Connor, but it wasn't enough.
Uh-oh. It's okay, Tiger. We'll pretend we didn't see that. Oh, Haunts, though. I saw that. That was a nice little cut-off onto Rifle before he kicked up that health pack. And my God, Nati Noot just turned up to middle, and he's just already taking the long express train back to last as they're throwing in Fancy's. Well, oh God, did they get that mid-air stick onto Fancy? That was nice. God, everybody's just exchanging lives here. It's a Pokemon trading card game, and they're just exchanging everybody in the goddamn deck. The Scout Chariots are in full force, and the soldiers to boot. It keeps on going. There will be no pause. There will be no breath. And finally, they will back out here. Over on CSG. Nope. Complete lie. This was a trap as we're going back into it once more into the breach, dear friends, as Hex is going to maybe go down here. Does survive for too long. There's a scout Uber exchange throughout all of this. Faust is trying to take a scout Uber out. He's launched up into the air. He's being nicked out. And finally, these players will fall, and CSG somehow win this in long bout of fighting.
That really shouldn't have worked, but whoever the soldier was that came out of sewer and didn't spot Fancy in front of him, that was probably the biggest threat. Fancy's just taking so much space. He's almost like running through the flank, and any time that he doesn't see a player in front of him, he just walks forward.
Well, back at last. Another sentry gun. Level 1. Probably going to be level 2 in any second now. Tiger trying to preemptively spam it down. Might actually go down. Does manage to get back to the rest of his team. They haven't quite got Uber, but they basically have it, as they're already posturing to try and maybe get some themselves into lobby. 100% Uber charge. Can they make another miracle defense? The defense has been nice from Nati Noot so far.
Not too bad. They sentry gun immediately goes down. They're going to have to swap off that. They're not too much caps on coming in, but they're committed both soldiers, and they're both going quite low. Faust is cleaned up as well, and Arms doing a great job just walking on the point when everyone's heads return.
Yeah, they're just not managing to get a foothold. Like, they managed to defend the point for half a second here over on Nati Noot, but they don't get any kills for defending said point. So the long game just gets played between this point and everything. And it just seems to be the bane of Nati Noot's defenses, as we got another 4th round on the put. Oh no, it's finally happened. Tiger got him. He's been looking for him all game, but he's got the Plague Ray. And they want to commit still over on Nati Noot. That's kind of strange. You don't see that every day. Usually, once your demo man is curtained, so are you, as the rest of the team finally decide to back out now. Horns gets caught in the middle there, but does take a man down with him. Faust is getting into the ring as well, throwing out some crossbows, killing off AMS, and yeah, they have capped off midpoint, but kind of makes you scratch your head and wonder how the hell did we lose that many players over on CSG?
Yeah, they smelt blood in the water. They wanted to go forward, but it wasn't quite happening. Ended up locking that choke down pretty well, because obviously they still didn't have Plague Ray in action, but just the combination of soldiers body blocking as well as firing rockets out of that choke was enough.
Well, you've got a 3-round cushion in this 4-1 game over on CSG. You could be tempted to just kind of chill things and take your time over at this point here yonder. 10 minutes left on the clock, so it is possible, but unlikely unless they just start taking their hands off the keyboards here, Dave. Are they one to kind of slow down, do you think, CSG, or are they just going to keep trying to try their luck still?
I definitely wouldn't expect them to slow down based on how they've been playing so far this game. The only thing that is probably making them just take it a little bit of a chill is they do have AMs coming up on the sniper.
Damn. Playgrey has some sticky traps around the corner as well, so Tiger will get taken out by that sort of low blow. They force Corndog, Zuba though, with their own little exchange solo onto Lanza. Lanza even managing to weasel his way out back to his team. Instead, Horns tries to commit in, but the soldiers come crashing down to stop that man taking out their demo man. So, and during all of that sort of crime was happening, AMS is playing some sniper, managed to give a little welcome headshot, but not quite bringing some kills so far.
Yeah, typically, if your pocket scout goes sniper, you'd expect to see the flank scout kind of return to the combo, but Loopy wasn't at it. A nice bomb from Tiger, finding Faust there.
I can't believe nobody really spotted Tiger to come through the choke there. They had two soldiers kind of thrown out in all the chaos, and as they've entered the rest of the fight now, Tiger's actually rejoined back for the rest of his team, and it feels like we're playing MG Spire. Everyone's just counter-jumping each other. Tiger, last one left standing, but to say what kind of advantage Nati Noot was in, they have come out of this quite crumbly.
Yeah, it's pretty nice for them in the end with Ryan just jumping in, getting a lot of value, landing on that little fence, just shimmying around it, able to fire rockets down on either side and dodge all the incoming damage. And what looked really bad with Faust going down, they turned it into a messy fight and they've come up just about on top. Aren't going to have enough of an advantage to push, I don't think, but at least they have this 4th point as a staging post.
8 minutes left. Ideally, if you want the game to start steamrolling here, you need to have nothing but victory from this point henceforward. So this is the window of opportunity. They've got 100% Uber charge now. They're going to try and take it in early, and they've popped nice and early, trying to sneak a kill onto this right-hand side. Will deal with the sentry gun instead, and they counter-pop over on CSG nicely. They just see if they can, and they're getting actual kills from this post-Uber as well. So they just need to play the point from henceforth for CSG, and I think there's rounds in the bag.
Yeah, there's a reason why Prem teams don't push off 10% ad, and that was pretty much a carbon example of why they didn't. I mean, if they had come up crits, I think they would have had like a larger ad, and it definitely would have been workable. But yeah, the 10% Uber ad is much more difficult to make work.
Yeah. Now they get to play the clock and kind of have that squeeze of the timer just hurt the side of Nati Noot just even more. You can feel the antiness, you can feel the gameplay being sped up intentionally over on that red squad, and it was showed in that last push. And I can see the rest of CSG realizing this fact and just kind of playing around it.
Yeah, just neither side really committing. In fact, they had quite a large advantage there, CSG, but not even going to bother pushing
it. They're all hanging out, high-fiving each other practically on point. Nobody wants to step out of line here over on CSG.
Yeah, it's a case of like, do you just go into mid with the advantage? And I think they knew like basically 6 players were up by the time they were ready to push, so they're just not going to risk it.
Ooh, okay. Sniper. Lanza's trying to get a snipe onto Corndog, but he's just hiding in his little sort of sheet metal protection. Will instead change their eyes onto Fancy himself, but they've got the doorways much more locked down now, and I think they're going to get pincered here over on Nati Noot and collapsed on. Haunts will go down, but that was a nice little body shot from Lanza as well. He's still being pushed and catered back out of this mid, and Faust potential to go down here. Will have to use a Zuba, and this is not ideal if you want to get rounds on the board here, Dave.
Yeah, not what Nati Noot team would have wanted, but actually it's going to be aggressive Uber coming in with AMS and Fancy taking it into the choke. They're going to kill Faust, they're going to kill Playgrey. That's going to be the 2 main targets they want. It's taken a while for them to cap mid, so forward spawns are going to come up very, very soon. They're really uncertain of where they want to go here. Connor and Tiger just going forward alone. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, and Lanza's still trying to play hero. Will actually kite. They should actually pincer off Tiger there, playing too much in computer room, whilst the rest of his team caps off middle point. But another notch on the board of difficulty for dear little Nati Noot. I think we could even pull out that nice little word, mathematically impossible at this point.
I mean, it would take something special with this amount of time left. They're trying to make it happen, though. They're committed through the choke. And Faust is now walking in as well. They're taking Lanza on the sniper as well. He rings off another headshot. CSG are going to have to back up, but the win condition really here for CSG is one successful Uber, I think.
Uber charge ready for Corn Dog. So they can hold a bit close to these doors if they really want to, but they have to keep in mind that condition now to get back in this game is in the shape of the Lanza sniper. So whether or not Corn Dog wants to risk his position, which it doesn't look like he does, he wants to just play it nice and safe on the spire.
Yeah, I think they feel they have to get a move on if they're playing for the game itself. They just seem to be playing at a kind of normal pace, playing around this sniper. Lanza now peeking in through choke. Seeing a lot of pipes come in his way, but not too many people peeking out.
Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, says Playgray, as he actually has some sticky traps ready for Tiger's shenanigans. Choke this time will be cleaned up, but again, doesn't really make a winning move. It just kind of delays the inevitable, as we're still just waiting for some get up and go out of Nati Noot. And yeah, time ticking, less than 4 minutes now.
Yeah, now going in PC Lanza, but he sees a soldier and a scout ahead of him. Hordes and Tiger, both there. Actually, Tiger's come up with a spy now, it seems. So he can see some off-class shenanigans.
Victory lap almost in the shape of a fun little spy play. I mean, they're not going to see this coming. Maybe they might have heard some footsteps through all this. Tiger is going to a different continent before he starts to uncloak here and take a nice little one last look at sewer.
He walks through the shutter as the scout is rolling out, so he must surely know.
Well, I mean, that's technically one player down, so Nati Noot could make a push here, whilst Tiger's having his like fun little Splinter Cell game. Comes back in, gets the stab onto Playgray, mission success, as they will have to use the Uber out over on Corn Dog to kind of protect from the aggression of Nati Noot himself, and they just reconnect back in all together, playing the blob. The scouts clean up so quickly over on CSG. It's very nice to see.
I honestly don't know if Xeri realised that a shutter mysteriously opened in front of him was a spy, because no one was looking back, no one was worried about that potential coming in, and he gets a pick at the end of the day, so it worked out somehow.
Oh, Demoman as well. That's a value spy, if anything, because rounding down the clock at this point for both teams. CSG feeling themselves just a little bit and playing a bit aggressive. You might even see Am start playing these doors a bit more wildly. Speaking of wildly, he's brought down to 2 HP practically, and they've used the Uber to keep Fancy alive during all this. He's pushing back to last. He's a one-man army with a medic, and they throw in the remaining of the army onto that last point. It's 5 rounds, and it's ETF2L's finish here for this first mapper process.
Yeah, pretty good stuff overall from CSG. They kept it interesting. It doesn't look textbook. It's not ideal play by any means, but they just keep throwing the dice, and they have enough skill to pull it off.
Speaking of textbook, let's see what the numbers say in this textbook. I'm going to log. I'm head on and over, and I'm sorting by damage because I'm a basic person, and it seems like Fancy is the one that's kind of doing the best out of everybody here. But honourable mention to Tiger, though, kind of much higher than any sort of soldier has the right to say on a mapper process.
Yeah, I think both those guys were doing a lot. Tiger was always committing, willing to give his life, but always making sure he was getting a lot of damage down whenever he went in. And Fancy just didn't give Nati Noot team any respect at all. Just walked forward at every opportunity, and I guess they didn't deserve the respect because it worked.
On mids especially, he was never pressured. There was no sort of pressure. I'd ever thought to a point where, man, Fancy feels really uncomfortable here. But on the other side, Playgray had nothing but uncomfortable mids throughout the entire duration of the game. Times even getting picked off cleanly at the start. And yeah, they just really couldn't deal with this Tiger kid. It felt like he was very impactful on all of his mids. and the stats support that as well. But over on the other side of the Soldier spectrum, these Nati Noot players have not been popping off like you were hoping for, dear Dave.
Yeah, again, I have to say, like, Ryan, I thought played pretty well this game. Had a lot of moments, a couple of big plays onto Connor as well. But yeah, Natty, this one wasn't his game, and that's kind of been a thing for them all season. They haven't had those two soldiers doing well on the same map, and you know, if that happened for them, I think they'd be doing a lot better.
Well, if we have to make this more into a compliment sandwich and even it out, some sort of silver lining here for Nati Noot, I thought the defenses, certain bits were pretty strong and nice. I think a lot of the problems, though, came down to a bit of greed, or am I just looking at things too, I don't know, too famine myself here, Dave? Do you think like there was too much greed played out by Nati Noot?
You mean like Faust with trying to milk the Ubers and trying to walk
Uber, yeah.
There were a couple of moments. Obviously, that drop on mid was literally just. It was almost like he'd unbound him too. He just wasn't willing to pop, regardless of what happened. And yeah, you know, obviously they don't want to pop the Ubers unless they're pressured. But you know, pretty much every time they were walking in, particularly into that midpoint, they were forced or dropped. So they weren't really able to make those walk-ins work.
There's also other little bits and tidbits that I kind of would throw out a question mark in the chat if I was in the gameplay. For example, I don't know why you would go for a back cap when you're defending your last. It seems like, again, another greedy sort of way to fix things. I mean, he did get the back cap in the end. The CSG responded with a lol, okay, went back and capped, and then went back and capped last.
Yeah, they CSG did pretty well at times in terms of just balling up, playing as a blob and isolating a lot of the Natty guys, because the Natty guys, they do what they wanted to do. They wanted to make individual plays, but individual plays don't work if it just leaves the rest of your team kind of 5v6.
All right. Well, process has been lost out by Nati Noot and won over on CSG. It's still mystery on who picked what map here. So whether or not one team is quaking in their boots or is actually kind of, just copying out in the Mumble server saying, that was our map. That wasn't our map pick. Of course, we're going to lose that, is to be seen. But if we can see over on our product map what sort of gameplay you've seen so far, Dave, and what you expect to see in a map like Product, do you think you have any sort of early winners pegged?
I'd be very surprised if Nati Noot were able to bring this back and win a map like Product. I haven't seen. Don't think either of these teams have scrimmed this an awful lot, and I certainly haven't seen them play it this season. But I think it's King of the Hill. It kind of forces teams to take committed 6v6 team fights, and that's kind of how CSG want to play anyway.
Yeah, you're right. They have been blowing up awful over on the CSG, but another thing towards the peg of Nati Noot, to give them credit, is these sniper plays have been working out. We've had players coming out for half a second and ringing off headshots that are impactful. While CSG, we see a couple of players switching to sniper. I'm not sure if either Nati Noot, the team is dying so quickly that the sniper can't do anything. It's just not the same as these Nati Noot boys. But do you think that's an actual eligible play they could make going into this map? Could they lean on that sniper, or is that just a bad way to go about it on this map?
As far as I know, neither of the soldiers really play sniper, and they don't either play too much scout. So if they were to go for the sniper, they'd end up with probably only one scout, as best as I can think. And I don't really think that's the way to go. You can see sometimes teams swapping a player off. I mean, if CSG wanted, they could put Tiger on to scout and have one of their scouts snipe. But as far as I know, that's not an option available to Nati Noot, unfortunately. So I don't see much sniping from them.
All right, okay. So if I had to just ask you for a plain old, spell it out to me, Dave, who's winning this map? Who am I putting my money on?
CSG 3-0.
3-0, hot damn. If you're Nati Noot, what do you aim for at this? Then you're not going to win a round, just win a fight? Win a mid? Anything?
See how they go. If their soldiers can sync up, maybe they stand a chance.
All right. Well, we will have our prayers answered here in our second map of our Week 5 game. CSG versus Nati Noot. It's TurboTabs and Dave and Dr. Underscore bringing you the coverage of this glorious map. And already in its glory, I'm seeing Horns jumping. I'm seeing Tiger jumping behind as well. And I'm seeing poor Hex has been cleaned up by the boogeyman of Tiger already. They will kind of equalize things out with that sort of death. But the scouts allow free reign to just cut across the point. Nobody's looking forward here in this Nati Noot game. And CSG just seem to be looking forward to just taking more kills.
Yeah, they're very, very aggressive here. Just Nati trying to make something happen. Actually, Hexeri is able to run in. They do clean up that one frag. It's not going to be enough. They're not going to get onto Connor. And Faust has no Uber, so full advantage.
Yeah, so with a scout and the soldier armed, Corndog feels confident enough to hold somewhat close to this point, but they want to sheepishly see if they can just take it away from them. They see a medic, they go for medic over on CSG, pop in the Uber nice and early, and this reminds players why you kind of want to be a bit sheepish with your own medic when that enemy medic is lurking with their Uber charge. They have thrown in a couple of soldiers, seeing if they can equalise things out, get the kill onto Corndog, but he's gone into the bunker, he's in the house, and the armed guards have kept the doors nice and safe for them.
Yeah, lads are running in. Just take out Loopy, but it's not enough.
That was a nice pipe. That was a very nice pipe, Fancy. Yeah.
Yeah, Fancy showed up. There was an opportunity in that last fight for them, as you say, to get that force out when Fancy was down. And yeah, they did the job. They got the force, but if you lose your medic, it's not worth it, is it?
They don't have the Uber charge right now, so I believe it or not, if they go for the exact same play, it would be better this time around, David. It would just... What a confusing game of TF2 is. And they throw Haunts in and Tiger to see if they can get on top of Faust before he dares push forward. But they do get him injured. Not quite killed, though. And Fancy follows up with the damage. And my god, is he damaging! He's actually got 2 kills on. And they have to back out with the rest of this red team squad. And Corndog got his Uber charge during all that. But he doesn't need no stinking Uber. His team's got it perfectly fine.
Yeah, Fancy just doing such a good job of knowing when there's pressure coming down on him, when there's pressure coming down on Playground, just putting his foot on the accelerator going forward.
Well, Ryan has managed to get his way in. They've popped off Uber now on Faust and Nati Noot, and they do have to use their Uber over on CSG, but they just try and chase them back at the door. That's 2 soldiers down. I wonder if they're brave enough here to still hold these doors close with the Ubers out of the equation.
I would assume so. I mean, if anything, the Uber generally works in the team trying to break throughs advantage, but they are going to come up with the Pyro here. It's going to be the Hexeri Pyro trying to break through this forward hold. Big bomb coming in from Horns and Tiger. It's absolute chaos, absolute carnage.
Oh, then one rat managed to squeeze through, lands it. Oh, actually, the Exterminator Tiger has turned up and killed him off. But yeah, I think they were determined that put every single red player through that doorway, death or killing over on Nati Noot. So everybody barreled through, and they managed to just kind of weasel away and actually get some foothold onto this midpoint here. And they've got a nice sizable advantage here over on Faust, so if they get this point, they could likely hold this point if they could just survive the next 10 seconds.
Oh, maybe not. Horns jumping in with Fancy. They clean up Faust. They clean up everyone. It's just Lancer alive. He's having to take effectively a 1v3. And against those 2 buff scouts, that's no dice and a first round win for CSG, and not very much time at all there for Nati Noot, sadly. Oh, it's you're gonna be kicking yourself because they may have the ingredients there for a long comeback, but it would have been a gauntlet battle of a first round. So they ease the tension. The first round is just given to CSG, and let's see if this double soldier combo brings as much havoc as it did before. A lot more direct this time over on CSG, and it's not as strong as their previous outing when they went kind of from behind and all over. They are doing a good job of kind of picking off these players one by one over on CSG. They're picking off the easier picks for them, and
pickety pick. It ends up with just only one lowly medic left, and he comes back to the arms of Nati Noot to at least get a bit of that ubercharge heal.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that's a very nice play. They just throw the soldiers one make in the space, and then the rest of the team, the demo, the scouts, just walking it up across the point. And, you know, the soldiers didn't get...
trap! Devastating trap coming out from Fancy here over by the house in China, and they're even going to throw Fancy in to go and force Faustus Uber off nice and early. A lot of multing happening between CSG, but I think they can afford to do it. They're already bombing right on top of the core of this Faust squad, and oh my god, they even
so nice.
Came around the back, and Haunts kind of lays down a massive amount of damage, and it's the worst sort of case scenario here for poor Nati Noot, and the rest of CSG are back high-fiving each other, having a fun victory picnic on mid.
Yeah, they were a player down, so they've opted not to go for the full forward hold. They've thankfully relinquished that and allowing here Nati Noot to walk forward a little bit, negotiating their way in. But they do have to worry. Connor's already up to 95%. Both the soldiers going onto that cliff area. Faust is very, very low as well. Plague taken out. The Uber's here. Ams is on the chase. He sees Faust, takes him out with 2 quick shots. Sees Lanza. He's kind of left there by Connor, but he's got the main target that he wanted.
They're very good over on CSG to kind of... Oh, Corndog, he's in the house area. He's actually dodging so many shots from against Hex, and oh, he's embarrassed, the poor lad.
Jesus Christ, that was just nuts movement there by Connor. Corndog, he throws out, there's no way that just happened. He types in chat, and that's got to be a tilter for Hex.
Oh, it hurts the soul to see it, because I think that was their way back into this round for them, and now they have to climb another little mountain top. They will manage to get past the peak of Haunts, however, and this slow push is going much more smoothly for them this time round. It does make you wonder, is Corndog going to have that Ubercharger sooner rather than later? They're trying to weasel their point for free, so they pop off the Uber. They're already trying to get on top of Faust. This mistake keeps happening over and over again, as they will just see medic, get medic.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit of tilt coming in for the Nati Noot guys. They have been in a vice grip so far, not counting the Ubers, but Bob coming in now towards Corndog. But again, it isn't enough. He's very, very low, down to below 50 health, but no follow-up, sadly. And even going to pop a BM Uber out with just 6 seconds left.
It gives you points, man. Okay, Corndog needs them. He wants them. He's doubling poor Faust on the scoreboard. Well, yeah. 2 round, and it's on charge for your prediction of a 3-0. So Nati Noot, this is usually the point where teams start to kind of change their tactics a bit. You know, maybe even go a full 180 on what they usually do. And there you go. Like the devil says, it will be a Kritzkrieg over on Faust and company. So if they can just survive out the majority of this mid, one player can be very impactful here. They actually get Fancy very early on in this mid. Haunts has actually come raring in though, gets a nice double kill with 1 rocket. That's a bargain as Tiger comes screeching all the way to try and get on top of Faust, and Faust is putting on his best Corndog impression, actually gets into the blue house and defends himself. And there we go. It seems the aggression is changed not only in their medic choices, but in also their gameplay.
Yeah, so by textbook, you play Kritzkrieg, you'd play a much slower mid-fight, but they didn't want to do that. They just played it as aggressive as possible. It worked. They knew the Kritzkrieg.
Oh, hello.
Oh, pause. But yeah, it seemed CSG knew there was going to be a Kritzkrieg, probably expected them to play for that condition, to play a bit of a slower mid, but they were taken very much by surprise.
I think they expected maybe that sort of slow gameplay as well, because I wasn't sure if they checked it just before going into this mid on any of the CSG squads, you know, just quickly on Spy for half a second. But they Yeah, no, they just seemed very blindsided. I think Fancy definitely didn't expect to have like 3 players hot spotted onto him on top of the thing. The drop comes out for Faust. I mean, what can the poor guy do? He's only a Kritzkrieg as Tiger has his number, and they're seeing red over on the rest of Nati Noot to try to take out the remaining players over on CSG. Ams is the only one left in this fight as he will go down, but it buys some space for Corndog to get back to his team and back to building that Uber charge.
The psychic damage there that Connor has impacted, though. Hexeri was chasing down on him. He could have easily got the kill if he'd dodged kind of one potential incoming arrow, but he didn't commit, and Corndog got out, and now he has 100% Uber.
Oh no, they see medic. How does this usually end? Oh no, they don't get medic. Okay, now they're going to get medic. Oh, Jesus.
They got everyone else there.
They actually went for a side tour. It's like, oh, we've been here plenty of times. Let's get the team burst, then we'll get the medic. And I think Faust could have actually afforded to kind of, just leave his team behind a bit.
Yeah, both the soldiers jumping in, they just end up jumping into a 5-man blob, kiting over to their opponent's side.
Corndog, he's like, your crits, our crits. In this game, they're holding close, or they want to hold close over on CSG, and it's getting a bit hairy, but they can't quite. Okay, they will get Fancy over on Ryan. So Kritzkrieg ready for Corndog, but no real sort of critical player for them to use it on. Who are they going to laser beam? Is it going to be Horns? I think they're going to crits away. There's one kill onto Playgrade, nice. The kill onto Faust as well. It does the job here over on this soldier. And yeah, I think Corndog's going to go down to the collapse and the sort of egregious plan B of Nati Noot. But when the dust settles, it's still more time tinked away for CSG.
Yeah, it was a nice little collapse though, and this round is a lot closer than it has been. Faust has even come up a lot quicker. He's still on the crits, and he's already built up a 40% crits, I guess, advantage. Connor back now on the minigun. They have checked again on the spy, so they will be aware Faust is up on the crits, but they'll also be aware it's a giant advantage.
Yeah, they should realise the crits is coming out somewhat soon. They put Faust does actually launch forward in surfing, and in all the oh no, the low sort of final rocket and roller will finish off poor Faust before he gets to use such a Kritzkrieg. And Nati Noot is the only one alive, but he's been controlled, isolated, called out, and then minced.
Yeah, effectively a wipe with Ryan just spawned in now, only survivor, and yeah, they've got a lead here now in this round. Connor only just coming up, so not going to be much advantage. Actually, with Faust still on crits, he might even get before. So, as we've been saying, this is much closer round, but the point back in control of CSG.
Yeah, they are kind of forced to play much quicker over on CSG, believe it or not, and that means they commit in quite a bit over on CSG, kind of risking things a bit more. So things have gone a bit better, and in saying that, in the same breath, they've lost 1, 2, 3 down over on poor Nati Noot, and the sort of focus fire and kind of collective fire of this squad is just too good, it seems, compared to Nati Noot.
Yeah, it's just a 3-man bust through the concrete flank area there for CSG, and they completely overwhelmed the Nati Noot flank, and then there was nowhere really for Faust to go. He could either back up into that 3-man flank or walk forward, and ended up getting killed by Fancy because of it.
They trying to see if they can... Oh, they actually pop off the Uber. I wonder why, as they're right on top of Faust again. Faust is actually... Is this going to be a medic fight? Oh, of course it's going to be a medic fight, as they will get the kill with Corndog's crossbow, and I guess they have managed to get some kills here and there over on Nati Noot, but the big picture has won out for CSG once again. This medic just constantly dying over on Nati Noot has really been a struggle for them.
Yeah, they haven't got many Ubers or crits so far this game. They are managing to bust through the flank, push Horns back, get some cap time in, but Connor's pretty close to this Uber. They can allow the cap to go in Nati Noot's favour here for a few seconds before Connor just able to build up the last bit of this Uber, and then they'll be ready to take it in.
Yeah, and all the sort of scrappiness that the Kritzkrieg or their gameplay shift has changed. It has forced them to make things kind of closer. They pop off the Uber once again. Faust has managed to actually get away this time, a nice little kite away, but they instead clean up on all the other remaining players, and Faust dies at the final moments of the game anyway. So it hurts more this way than it would have been if he died earlier. His team kind of, I don't know, have a chance to play. So that's 3 rounds, it's 3-0. It's over in this server here, Dave.
Yes, exciting stuff. I'm glad that at least we got that third round where Nati Noot really took it to the belly, really gave it a go. But as we suspected, particularly based on what we've seen in the first map, what we kind of know in terms of the experience of this CSG team, they were very, very impressive there. Their team fights are just excellent. Their focus fire was very, very good on this second map. And
Yes.
sets them well for the rest of the season because they've got an important game coming up next week against the Frenchies, I believe, which could be a playoff decider.
Yeah, it's an impressive team. And also just not in the fact that they were just taking the basic equation answers, like, oh, you see medic, you kill medic and all this. They had nice little sort of micro play where they managed to kind of choose a time when they want to go back in and shift the gears from defense to attack really quickly. And even if their first initial target or things kind of go a bit awry, they manage to change their objective again. You see these sort of shift changes between the team and the call is made. So it is very promising, at least in this server or this viewpoint of CSG coming into the rest of the ETF2L season. The rest of Nati Noot, though, I mean, I don't think there's many good things I could say about that product map. The logs?
Yeah, we can pull up some logs, but they were just broadly outplayed, you have to say.
Oh, Jesus, don't look at the logs. Don't look at the logs.
Yeah, they're pretty brutal.
Oh, my God.
The one good thing you can say about the Nati Noot side is at least they were all dying together. No one was baited. Because they all have between 14 and 16 deaths.
Yeah, you're right. They really are a team's team. As they win together, they die together. Damn, Am's doing a credible job on the Scout Clash, topping the charts over on the damage, the kills. Does he even get the most assists? Oh, no, he doesn't. What kind of scrub gameplay is this, Am's? As well. Okay, no avenue of positivity in these logs instead. Maybe the most positive thing we could do for Nati Noot at this point on, David, is to end the cast and just move on to another week, perhaps. You got any shout-outs before we go?
Shout out sensation. I guess we could talk about what's happening next week. We got tomorrow is going to be the awards show for the autumn season.
The award show for that season? That long ago? Good God.
It's been a while. It's been a while coming, but hopefully it'll be worth the wait.
All right, well.
It will be tomorrow, TFTV 21:15, I believe. We've also got some more games coming up next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, and maybe Thursday as well, I believe.
I think there's an actual game going on in ETF2L right now. I think, is it Dum Tum that's covering that game right now? Or is it TFTV 2? Oh, they've just ended. Damn, it was like a hot race between all the teams tonight. I thought we finished so quickly, we might be able to throw it over to them. C'est la vie. Well, if you just missed them and you've just missed us, don't worry. You can still tune us in onto YouTube eventually. We'll get these games uploaded. We've got a bit of a schedule and a thing going now. But you can always tune into the VODs where you can watch me, TurboTabs, Dave, Dr_show coverage of our CSG versus Nati Noot game, or Dum Tum Wandom and J Max Chill covering the other game that I can't remember. Anyway, otherwise, if you want to find any more of our content over on teamfortress.tv, you just punch in the name into the little web browser bar thing there. Or you can find us on Twitch, Twitter, all the little fun jazz things. Otherwise, I've been TurboTabs. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Dave. Say bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and Dr_, say nothing, you say bye. Excellent. All right, goodbye from us. See you.